Hello and welcome to Programming Tutorial 2, Introduction to Input and Looping. In this video, we will be setting up the beginning functions that make our game. In that, we will be creating our game loop and adding in user input. Throughout this tutorial, you will learn how to grab input from the console, how to create and use loops, and how to create a game update loop. If you're looking for the hand-in for this week, that will be covered in the recap section. Until then, let's get started. So, let's open up our project from last week. There we go. I already had it open up in the background, but if you would like to open it and would like to be shown how, just click on this and it'll show up in your recents. Now, we have this from last week. And that's cool and all, obviously, hello and welcome to our shop, but it ends immediately. We don't really want that. No, we don't. What we want is for it to continue, to keep going until we say exit. I want the game to end. And so how do we do that? Well, there's a few different ways. Technically, there's only one correct way, and that's what's known as a game loop. And your game loop is something that you'll learn a lot about in game design. But conceptually here, what it means is what are the things that you have to keep doing every frame to display your game to the character. In the case of an FPS, you have to draw the graphics, accept the character input, run the physics, things like that every frame, or else, characters can't die, characters won't take damage, characters won't do any of that. So what we want to think about here is, what do we have to do every frame? Well, really, what we have to do is simple. We basically just create a while loop. And a while loop is a form of loop that will loop infinitely. It'll loop as long as you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a function, static void game loop. We're going to call it shop loop, because that's what we're creating here. So we don't need anything inside the brackets. You'll notice up here we have brackets. This is what's known as a parameter. We don't really go over those too much in the tutorials, but you will see them a lot throughout the tutorials. And essentially what a parameter is it's data that we pass into our function. So what we're going to do here is we are going to create, I'm going to go up here and we are going to create a static bool, which is something we learned about last week. And we're going to call it printed intro. So, and we're going to make it false by default. So essentially this is, have we printed our intro? And it's false. So no, we have not printed our intro. So I control seed what we had up there. Didn't mention it at the time, but I control C'd it. So what we're going to do here is if not printed intro, and we talked about the not operator a bit, but I will talk about it again. Essentially, so not false is true. Not true is false. So printed intro is false. So not false. So if true. Basically, this evaluates to true. So if true, do all of these. And that's the simple way of explaining one of the most useful ways of using Booleans. So currently we haven't printed our intro. So if we haven't printed our intro, print our intro. And then we're going to printed intro equals true. So now we've printed it. And then this is to make it so we don't print it every frame. If we comment this out and do, so if we write while true, so while that's true, this will continue forever. Won't do anything. Well, I just realized we forgot to add shop loop. We have to write shop loop in main. We have to call the function in main. So now if we run, it's just going to infinitely keep printing it. And if you click on the screen and click any other button, it'll continue. But this isn't what we want. So if printed intro, or if not printed intro, see, now the intro doesn't repeat, but the program hasn't ended. It's still running. It doesn't do anything. It just infinitely loops. But is that really what we want? So let's create another static bool. Playing game. So we're going to create a thing called playing game. So while, or we can switch this to shopping. Because that makes more sense. While shopping, it'll continuously print this stuff. And then if we run, it's going to do the exact same thing. So while we're shopping, there we go. So we have a conundrum now. So how are we going to end it? Let's remove this "Have a wonderful day" line also, because we're not exiting them. And basically, this is our game loop. This right here is our game loop. This is our loop. So what are we gonna do? Well, there's this thing called user input, and we talked about it a bit in the intro. And basically what we can do up here is create a static string input, and this will just let us access our input from any function, just to make our life easy, just so it doesn't get deleted every frame. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to write input equals console.read line. And so what this does is this reads in a line from the console. So if a player or if a user writes something out and then presses enter, the console will read it. And that's our input. So currently it won't do anything with set input. But what we can do is we can hello. And then if we breakpoint it, oh, wrong one. So we breakpointed at the input line, And if we do, hi. And you'll notice input is equal to hi, because I've said hi. Now we can just go up here, press continue. And that's a good debugging tool. It's not something that we're really going to cover particularly in this course. Particularly close at the very least, or throughout these tutorials. But it is something that you will learn a bit more about throughout your different tutorials and in different classes, as debugging is a thing that happens very often in programming. So now that we have our input, what we want to do is basically check if our input dot equals exit, and we want our exit to be compared with ignoring the case. So ordinal ignore case. So we don't care if it's exit. We don't care if it's like this. We don't care if it's like this. We don't care if it's like this. All that we care is that the letters are the same, that it spells exit. So if input equals exit, well then we want to make shopping equal false. And so what we're going to do is outside of our loop, so this is our while loop, in order to know that we're doing something like this, we're going to console write line, have a wonderful day, just so we know that they've exited. So what we are going to do is also we're going to console.writeLine. And so this is something we didn't talk about last week, but this means new line. That's all that means. So what we can do is we can do console.write, and that won't write a new line character at the very end. Whereas console.writeLine will always include a new line character at the end automatically. But let's run. Let's run and see what happens. Building. There we go. So hi. It's just going to keep skipping lines. And then if we write exit, have a wonderful day. Program closed. If we write exit in all caps, have a wonderful day. If we write exit in all lowercase, have a wonderful day. If we capitalize the E, have a wonderful day. If we capitalize the I, have a wonderful day. So what we've done here is we've essentially set it up so that we can just ignore any casing that we put in our input. And basically, that's important because not every player is going to just write exit. Not every player is just going to write, exit. Not every player is just going to write capital E, exit. It's always different. And so this allows us to make it so that we can check for these sorts of things. Technically, another thing that you can do is we can check for different words. So in our if statement, we have the ability to, if you press enter here, put this on a new line, we can write, add straight line character. Now this straight line character in programming is known as the OR. It's known as OR. Basically, it's if, it's exit, or another thing. So if this is true, or whatever the next thing is true. So what we're going to do is create like another thing, like leave. String comparison, ordinal ignore case. And there we go. Don't forget to put the second bracket at the very end. But yeah, so now if we run and we write leave in all caps, it'll let us leave. We write run, doesn't do anything. If we write leave, works. So we have officially created a shop that you can enter, you can start, and leave. And that's really cool. So the big thing that we want to do now is we just want to be able to make it so our we can be greeted. So what we're going to do is right up here, we are going to write if input dot equals, and then hello, and then string comparison ordinal ignore case. If you're wondering how I'm completing these so fast, which is something that I've never mentioned, if you write string comparison and then click the tab key on your computer when it's hovered over the one that you want, so ordinal ignore case is the one that I want, so tab. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check an OR. So if you press enter here, and then input dot equals, and then hi, and then string comparison ignore case. There we go. Now we've got two checks. So hello, hi. And so you know how we created a shop loop? We're going to go down here and we're going to create static and void and print greeting. And so what this function is just going to do is it's just going to greet the player. Imagine you walked into a store and said hi to the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper was like, you know, console, oh, spelled that wrong, console.writeLine, hi, how are you today? Or hi, I hope an amazing day, and then feel free to around the shop all you want. And then we're going to add, that's it. So you notice this console right line. So we put this under everything. So we're going to move this up here. So everything is very consistent. So we have all of this. We have all of this. But we now have print greeting. Now we're just going to run print greeting here. And now if we run it, we write, hi. Hi, I hope you're having an amazing day. Feel free to look around the shop all you want. Hello. Hi, I hope you're having an amazing day. Feel free to look around the shop all you want. And then exit. Have a wonderful day. And that's it for our loop. So what we can do down here is, notice how we created a print greeting. So we can create a static void print farewell. And console.writeLine. Thanks for coming to the shop. console.writeLine. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Have a wonderful day. There we go. And so we can replace this with print. Very well. And now you've got a shop where you can, hi, you can greet people, and then you can leave. And you'll get given a nice farewell message. That's it. This is our game loop. This will loop infinitely. This right here will loop over and over and over and over again for as long as we need, as long as we don't write exit or leave. And that's everything. Congratulations on getting through your second tutorial. On to the recap.